It's your main man, Chief Sock G. Y'all tuned into the Angry Perspective. I want to come live, man. Tuesday, April 18th. Holler at y'all about a couple things that's been going on, man. First and foremost, salute to the Angry Black Man Media Squad. You know what I'm saying? All the supporters, all the haters and detractors out there. Just want to say salute to y'all, man. Y'all been keeping the channel alive. Been away for a little minute. Haven't done a live stream in a while. Just seeing a couple things going on the social media, man. I felt like it was time for me to weigh in. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about a couple things that's going on. Man, in the next coming days and weeks, it's gonna be a lot of activity, man, on this channel. So for those of you all that's tuning in, like, share, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? If you got issues, you got Anna on your chest, you want to get it off, all you gotta do is holler at me in the comments. A lot of y'all been sending me DMs. You know what I'm saying? Man, y'all went crazy over that post about the white supremacy in Hollywood. Folks was not trying to hear none of what we was talking about, but it's all good though. Today, man, we're gonna talk about what's going on with the youth in our community, man. There's a lot of things that I'm seeing that's very troubling going on with this social media. You know what I'm saying? The TikTok wave is in full effect. You know, Twitter and Instagram and the Facebook. And it seems like children aren't being raised by their parents anymore. And it seems like that's been something that's going on for a while. But I think we living in a time now where we're gonna really begin to see the full brunt of the detachment that children have from their parents, being influenced by the internet, being influenced by the TV and the radio. Got a lot of children out here who are growing up in a society where they're being taught that they can be whatever they want to be, they can do whatever they want to do, and that's just not real life. In real life, there's consequences and repercussions for your actions. In real life, there are authorities, you know what I'm saying, and figures who are above you within various levels of society that you must respect. There are rules that you have to follow. You know what I mean? And a lot of the children growing up in our community are being given the idea that they can just do and say whatever they want to do, and there's no real consequences and repercussions. And that's a very dangerous precedent to be set, particularly for so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians in this country, man. No matter where you go within the society, no matter what, where you strive to place yourself in this country, you're always going to have someone who's in a position of authority over you that you have to respect and that you have to show a proper amount of decorum in dealing with. So that's going to bring us to the first video that I want to address today. A lot of you may have seen it. Some of you may not have seen it, but it is a video of a teacher in North Carolina who got into one of her students. And what I'm gonna highlight in this video is I'm gonna cut the video short because I don't want to, see the whole full frontal inappropriateness that's in this video. But I just want to bring out the problem in this video and highlight, where it comes from and talk about who's responsible and who was wrong in this situation. I'm gonna go ahead and play it, then we'll get to talking about it. Go ahead and diminish myself. Let the video play right quick. Make sure the volume is straight. Y'all let me know if y'all seen this video in the chat. Takes place in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. It's a substitute teacher dealing with one of the students. I'll go ahead and play the video and we'll talk about it when we come back.
Why should rules not apply to everybody else? That's everybody. No, you did not give nobody else's phone. And you finna get my shit. Don't touch me. That's on my phone. Don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me. Somebody get attention. I don't give a fuck. Get out. Get attention. Get attention. Get attention. Get attention.
Now, what we see taking place here in this video, like I said, it's already come out that this is a substitute teacher in a Rocky Mount, North Carolina high school. And this teacher has apparently decided to discipline this student for who knows what reason. The student is complaining about the phone being taken, asking for the phone back. The teacher is saying, no, you're not getting the phone. If you're watching the video, you can see the teacher is clearly on the phone trying to dial the principal's office. She's trying to call for some higher authority because this child is completely out of order, completely out of place, completely disrespecting her authority as the teacher in the classroom. Now, many of us, some of you may be old enough to have been in school when cell phones had come out. And there were undoubtedly rules about having a cell phone in the classroom and when you could use them and when you couldn't use them. And if you did not follow the rules, then the consequences were you got your phone taken away. And you could not like it. You could be upset about it. You could be mad at the teacher. But if your phone gets taken, guess what you got to do? You got to wait for your parents to come. You got to go to the office, call your parents, have your parents come get your phone. Teacher tell your parents why they took the phone, and then you got to deal with your parents on the consequences and repercussions of that. But what we see here with this young girl, she clearly does not have the proper amount of training at home. You know what I'm saying? If this little girl decides to talk to and treat an adult who she doesn't know in this fashion, then I can only imagine what the child is capable of doing at home with parents who she's comfortable with and are around every day, all day. Like this little girl completely showed no respect for the authority of the teacher, completely showed no respect for her position being a student, completely showed a lack of respect for even, for the acknowledgement that I'm in school and there are rules and there are people here who are in authority. And if I break the rules, then I have to respect that authority. Now, I've seen a lot of people on the internet commenting on this video. A lot of people on the internet talking about the teacher was wrong and she should have gave the girl back her phone and there was no reason for her to result to physical violence when this teacher was defending herself against what this little girl did. And it's important that imagine if this teacher would allow this little girl to snatch that phone from her and didn't do nothing. She couldn't come show her face in the school ever again. Her any authority or any respect or any sense of you know gravity that she held over these students would have been completely snatched from her. In these public schools all across the country, our children are being educated by these people who are in many instances underpaid, many instances don't have the proper health care and the proper benefits to deal with all of the emotional, mental and physical hangups that these children are coming with. And for a student to disrespect a teacher this way, I feel bad for the teacher. I feel bad for the teacher who got up that morning and got dressed, coming to be a substitute, knowing that she was going to have to deal with, being a substitute teacher, knowing she was going to have to deal with children who, in many instances, are out of order and out of line, who, because she cares about these students, because again, these teachers ain't getting paid no money. It ain't like she's doing a job because of how much it pays and how well she's being treated. She's going out there and putting herself on the line, to help these kids, to be a part of, the solution to the problem that we face. And for her to show up to do her job and to be treated this way by some child who does not have the proper amount of respect for any adult or any authority is just shameful and it's baffling. You know what I'm saying? This kid walks up on this sister, tells her what she is going to do, what she's not going to do, tries to snatch the phone out of her hand. And then when the teacher tells her, back up off me, go sit down, the girl raises her hand up and swings on her. And again, there's no feelings of any sadness or sorrow for this little girl. She's lucky that the teacher had mercy on her and stopped, did what she was supposed to do, which is just detain the little girl. But the little girl was completely out of order, completely out of line, and there needs to be consequences and repercussions at a young age for children who don't know how to behave themselves, because the consequences and the repercussions as you get older, we've already seen what those are. You understand? If it's not the teacher at the school when this young girl's 12 and 13 and 14, then it'll be the police officer on the side of the road when she's 18 or 19, when she's, 23, 24. And for anybody that says that there's any excuse or any reason that this little girl had to conduct herself in this way, then you part of the problem, man. And we gotta stop lying to these children and stop pretending like the world is a place where people gonna, accept your bullshit or put up with your dysfunctionality. People gonna make excuses for you behaving the way that you behave. The real world don't work like that. In the real world, if you don't follow the rules, if you don't do what you're told to do, if you don't learn how to conduct yourself properly, then guess what? You're never gonna be able to maintain no job, never gonna be able to provide a living for yourself, never gonna be able to maintain any healthy relationships with a man, with a woman, with your children, with your parents, with your friends, with anybody else. And there's a lot of people in our community that are dysfunctional because nobody ever cared enough to step in and tell them that you're wrong, you're out of pocket, you're out of line. You know what I'm saying? You're going on a path that's going to end up destroying you. And I'm hoping that the beatdown this little girl received, and by this thing going out on the internet and everybody being able to see it, she going to learn a valuable lesson, which is when you don't follow the rules, when you try to buck up against the system, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's embarrassing. Sometimes, you get beat in your face and pounded to the floor and held down until the authorities come, and then they got to restrain you. But I really feel bad for the teacher because all she was doing was just trying to do her job. She show up to do 8 hours, teach these kids, deal with, and we all been kids before in school. We all know how we dealt with the substitute teacher. You know what I'm saying? Looking back on it, I feel bad for some of them teachers, some of the things that we did to them. But goddamn, should nobody raise up on them? Should nobody listen? In the real world, this little girl want to act like she is an adult. In the real world, you don't walk up on nobody like this. This is in the real world. You don't get to just walk up on somebody and just talk how you want to talk. Look at the little girl's mannerisms. Look at her. She's just, nothing's real.
Don't touch me. That's on my mom.
That's on my mom. What she says to the teacher. The teacher pushing her away. She's reaching out.
Girl, don't touch me. Don't touch me, girl.
And she swings on her. I mean, absolutely amazing. Absolutely ridiculous. This is a young girl who's not getting no parenting at home. Nobody loves her enough to, discipline her and to check her and to put her in order. I guarantee you, this young girl's whole life, she's been being ignored and neglected. Nobody's ever really sat her down and explained to her why she's out of pocket.
And you finna give me my shit. Don't touch me.
You finna give me my shit. That's what this little girl, this is middle school kids now. In middle school, what age we talking about middle school? We talking about between ages of 11 and 14, 10 and 14. You between 10 and 14 and you ain't been taught to have respect for adults, respect for the teachers at the school, respect for people who are in positions of authority. If she's talking to the teacher like this, imagine what she says to her mother at home. Imagine how she talked to her father. These are the little kids that when they're young and they say shit and fuck, everybody laugh and say, oh, that's so cute. But then when they get 10, 11, and 12, this is how they act when they out in public. This is how they act and speak to people who are speak to adults who aren't your parents, who don't have to take your shit, who don't have to put up with your ignorance or your disorder. You understand? There's some people who was raised properly and know how to put a kid in check, know how to let a kid know they out of line and they out of order. And this substitute teacher was one of them. I'm gonna keep again. The video is so disgusting because the little girl completely out of line, and then after talking and running her mouth and cursing, she goes to put her hands on the teacher.
No, you did not keep nobody else home. And you finna give me my shit. Don't touch me. That's on my mom. Don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me.
3 times the teacher tells her, don't touch me, girl, don't touch me. What is the little girl doing? Continuing to come towards her, continuing to reach out, try to reach over her, try to grab at the phone. The teacher gave her 3 warnings. Don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. Then when she says, looks at the little girl like, are you crazy? The little girl swings on her. And the little girl, because she wanted to act like an adult, she got treated like an adult, and is exactly what she deserved. And she's lucky. She's lucky the teacher went to the ground and decided to just hold her down. Because this is a grown woman. And this grown woman could have really did damage to this young girl.
Fucking get a teacher. Get a teacher. Somebody get a teacher. I don't give a fuck. Get out. Get a teacher. 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 Y'all go sit here and sit here and watch. Get a teacher.
I feel so bad for that teacher. I feel so bad for the teacher who was put in that position and had to deal with this child in this way, all because this young girl doesn't have any home training. If you're somebody out there and watch that video and you a parent and you say, I wish they would have did that to my kid, you the problem. If you're a parent and you watch that video and you say, I wish she should have gave that phone back. She shouldn't be talking to nobody's child like that, then you are the problem. And those of us who know better, those of us who were raised properly, those of us who know the value of having children, having parents that instilled in us good morals and good values and taught us how to respect adults and to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, and to watch our mouths and to not curse around adults. We know that what our parents did and putting that into us prepared us for life in the real world. Children like this little girl that don't get to learn the proper lessons on how to address adults and how to talk to people who are in positions of authority, they are the people who we refer to in real life as unprofessional. They are the people who can't keep a job, people who don't know how to maintain their emotions, people who don't know how to go and take a breather, wait for a second. I know you're upset. I know you're mad. You can't get your phone. I know you wish you could do something. But the reality is there's nothing you can do. You know what you can do? You can go to the office and you can call your mom. You can go to the office and you can call your parents and you can wait and have your mother come up here and get your cell phone. But there's nothing you can do. That's real life. Certain situations in life, you upset, you mad, you want to do something, but guess what? You should call the police and you should just wait. You understand? Or you should there's nothing you could do to this client or this customer. You should just go to the back, take a breather, say, hey, I need you to cover for me right now. I need to go to the back. I need to take my break. Because that's what happens in real life. In real life, you walk up on somebody, you get in somebody's face, you might not make it. You understand? So again, this little girl was completely out of line, shows a lack of parenting and a lack of care that she's, not receiving at home for her to have been taught to have manners and taught to speak with adults the right way and to handle people who are in positions of authority. This little girl thought that she could say whatever she wanted to do whatever she wanted to do. If this is what she did after the phone was taken, I can only imagine what that teacher had to go through before she took the phone. I can only imagine how disruptive that kid was and how out of order and out of line she was because this was a substitute teacher, because she thought this was somebody she didn't have to respect, because she thought she could just say and do whatever she wanted to do without there being any real consequences. And we saw what the end result is. And because we live in a society now where all of these children is being pushed on children that you can be whatever you want to be and you can do whatever you want to do and nobody could tell you anything and nobody can make you do this or make you do that. The end result, if children aren't addressed when they're this age, if they aren't addressed when they're 10, 11, well, they got to be addressed way earlier than that. You got to be, teaching your children how to respect adults is something that starts when they 3 years old, 4 years old. You teaching them to speak with manners, say please and thank you. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. May I? You know what I'm saying? That can I? Those are things that have to be instilled in children in their youth. You can't wait till a child is 10, 11, 12 years old and try to teach them about respect. You got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to train a child up in the way that they should go. And when they become older, they will not depart from it. That's in the Bible. You understand? You got to teach these children when they're young. And the problem is we're living in a society where we're taught to coddle children. We're taught to, be patient with them and let them to grow up and mature. But by the time a child is matured, it's too late for you to teach them anything. The time for instructing your children and teaching them and instilling a culture of respect and decency and kindness and order begins when they are in their developmental stages of life. You understand? If you go read some of these science books about this psychology and about how the brain develops, a child has developed their personality by the time they are 6 years old. A child is going to be who they're going to be by the time they're six. Not to say there's nothing that can be done to influence them or to change them, but you have to start teaching your child when they 1, 2, 3, 4 years old. The age of disciplining a child, man, is 5 years old. After five, beating a child, spanking a child ain't work. Damn near abuse. You got to catch them when they real young and discipline them and teach them those lessons of, doing what's right and doing what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? At the young, tender ages of 3, 4, and 5 is when you can discipline a child and a little tap on the hand. It seemed like a beating to them. That's the time you got to teach a child about pain. You wait until a kid gets 6 or 7 and you want to spank him and beat him, you damn near just abusing the child by then. You understand? This culture that needs to be instilled in our children begins at a very, very young age. And guess what? If you aren't giving that culture to them, if you aren't instilling it in them, then guess what? The cartoons you put on and leave in front of the TV all day is. Whatever entertainment you go to, some of these parents giving these kids a tablet, giving them a cell phone, they 5 or 6 years old. That's ridiculous. You understand? You got to take the time out to be a parent to teach a child what they supposed to do, what they're not supposed to do. A lot of you all are spoiling these kids because of how you grew up. Either you grew up spoiled or you grew up and had parents who was hard on you. And because you were rebellious and didn't want to do what your parents told you to do, you raised your kids to be the same way. But when they come out in the real world and they come up against adults who know that the way this child is talking to me and the way this child is acting is wrong, there's a chance your kid is going to get beat down to the floor and held down until somebody who's of a higher authority gets there. But this is a is a completely disgusting video, man. This little girl was out of order. Little girl was out of pocket. I feel bad for the teacher. She did what she was supposed to do, and you're in a position of authority. You understand? No one has the right to challenge your space or to enter your personal space. And this teacher gave this little girl 3 warnings: "Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Don't touch me!" Then, when the little girl proceeded to try and touch her, she's, "Are you crazy?" And the little girl swung on her. The teacher did what she was supposed to do. The little girl got off lucky. The little girl got off lucky, and it's unfortunate, but it's a blessing that this was a black teacher, because who knows what could have happened to this young girl if it wasn't. You understand? But like I was saying, when you don't take the time to teach your children and make sure that they're raised properly when they at that young tender age, then what ends up happening is when they grow up, they begin to believe that things like this are acceptable. I'm gonna play this next video.
So Little Uzi Vert has fans divided after introducing a new alter ego called Leslie. Hey, what's up? I'm A-Dub, and check this out. So he unveiled the new look and moniker on Instagram on Sunday, April 16th, while touring in Thailand. Uzi's posted a series of photos showing off Leslie's emo-inspired hairstyle and outfit, along with a video of them eating a cockroach. In the pictures, Little Uzi can be seen wearing a pink tape t-shirt, which is the name of their upcoming album. Fans took to the comment section of Little Uzi Vert's post to share their thoughts on their new alter ego, with many people mocking their new look.
Now, this is a rapper or a singer, Lil Uzi Vert. Only reason why I even know this cat is because he got a song out right now that everybody likes. And I don't even really like the song. I think it's garbage. The song, he ain't got no lyrics. He ain't got no words. It's just a little beat that he, sang to. But this little Uzi Vert, always been kind of weird. Always, wore his hair kind of weird. When I was growing up, what they call emo kids today, those are the kids that we laughed at and bullied, and they were just goofy. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no reason to be. A lot of them kids, man, wearing that gothic look. We used to call it gothic back in the day. I didn't know what the hell emo was till recently, but it was just goofy suburban Caucasian kids who just were looking for a reason to rebel or be different. So they wanted to wear all black and, paint their fingernails black and wear trench coats and, dye their hair black and, just weird is what we called them. Nowadays, I guess the black kids are joining in. This cat always been one of those kind of weird off-brand kind of cats. Never really listened to none of his music. But what bothers me is that in the midst of this LGBTQ push that we're experiencing in this present society, children are being confused. And amidst the confusion, trends like this are being set where now he goes to, perm his hair and dye it and color it pink and get pink nails. He can come out and say, "This is my alter ego." I'm first of all, his name isn't Lil Uzi Vert. His name is whatever his parents named him, right? Whoever he was at birth, whoever his friends know him as. Lil Uzi Vert is the singer, is the rapper. That's the alter ego. So who he is when he's on stage and when he's making his music. But then outside of who he is in his regular life, outside of who he is when he's making his music, when he wants to be gay, he's Leslie. Or when he wants to dress up, when he wants to, feel girly, he's Leslie. They call it an alter ego. This is what happens when there's no decency and there's no order. This is what happens when you raise children to believe that they can be whatever they want to be. This is what happens when there is no authority in place to say this is right, this is wrong, or this is what we're going to allow, this is what we're not going to allow. Lil Uzi Vert is not Leslie. He's on a marketing tour for his new album that's coming out called The Pink Tape, and he just wanted to color his hair pink and put on pink nails. But he's still the same little Uzi Vert guy. He's still the whatever guy his mama made him, named him. That's who he is. He go home with his mommy and his daddy. He's little Chris. When he go on stage to perform, he's little Uzi Vert, because who the hell wants to listen to little gay Chris? When he goes and colors his hair, colors his nails, there is no Leslie. Leslie doesn't exist. He's just little gay Chris promoting his new album. But if there's nobody to stand up and say, there's no alter ego, there's no third person. He's not Leslie when he paints his nail pink and puts pink color in his hair. No, that's still just little Uzi Vert. That's still little gay Chris. But if nobody stands up and says that, the children will think, "Oh, it's ridiculously demonic. It's spiritually, these are evil lessons being taught to young children." Because who does little Uzi Vert influence? Little Uzi Vert ain't no adult following little Uzi Vert. Ain't no adult being swayed by his trends. That song he got up, "Let Everybody Rock" or "Everybody Rock." That ain't no grown up song. I ain't never been in a car full of niggas and somebody said, "Yo, put on that Everybody Rock." That's not. It's not a grown up thing. His whole music, his demeanor, his whole everything that's catchy about him is geared towards children. So they want the children to say, "Oh, I can be like little Uzi Vert. I can perm my hair and color it pink and put on the pink nails and wear goofy dresses. Look at this outfit this cat got on." And this is why I say we used to laugh at these kids back in the day. The way these kids is dressing, this isn't new. This is typical. You know, what's the word I say we used to call them? Not emo, but gothic. This is typical gay goth clothing. And he got on Balenciaga pants, so I guess it's supposed to be fly. I guess he's supposed to be doing it big because his clothes cost a lot. But he got on goofy shin high boots with shorts on, which is absolutely ridiculous, by the beach. Look, look at this cat, bro. He got on shin high boots with Balenciaga shorts and a hoodie on by the beach with a skinny white t-shirt with pink and white. He got pink nails. He got a perm in his hair with pink bangs. And in this video, he's in Thailand. He's doing a show in Thailand, right? Again, all of this is marketing. He's in Thailand doing a show. I guess he's taking in the culture of the Taiwanese people or the Thai people. He eating a goddamn cockroach. Eating a goddamn cockroach on the strip with his pink permed hair and his pink nails, and
Series
like
of
I
photos
said,
showing.
he calling himself Leslie. He's just little gay Chris. That's all. He's just little gay Chris, and little gay Chris is doing what he has to do to promote his album. But if you aren't watching your children, if you aren't paying attention to what they're into and what they got going on, then you are going to find yourself the parent. If you're not the parent of a kid that disrespects the adults at school and gets beat up, then you might be the parent of little gay Chris. You didn't even know he was little gay Chris because you just thought he was being you just thought he was being emo, or you thought he was being gothic. You understand? You understand? You thought he was just following the trend set by his favorite rapper. When somebody got to be an adult in the room and stand up and say, "This is improper. This is not acceptable." And if you have children that will not accept the rules that you set for them, won't accept the boundaries that you put in place, then guess what? You're going to have to allow them to learn the hard way. As parents, it's your responsibility, man, to teach your children the things that they need to learn so that when they become adults, they're not caught off guard by the real world. But if you're a parent who tries to teach your children all the right things and tries to put in them, to give them the knowledge and the information they need not to be taken advantage of or to be abused when they enter the real world, if they don't listen to you, no sweat. You just watch them as they go and they hit the wall or they run into real life and they have to find out for themselves, damn, This is what moms was trying to warn me about. This is what pops was trying to tell me about. I didn't want to listen when I was young. I didn't want to hear what they were saying, but they actually cared about me. But to be if you tell them what they supposed to know and they don't listen to you, no problem. All you can do is, as a parent, is what you can do. But if you sit by and you're silent, silence is complicity in these situations. All of this stuff that we as adults now know better. We look back on life and we realize that the values and the morals that and the decency and the order that our parents tried to instill in us, many of us rebelled and didn't want to listen to them. And now that we're adults and we're looking back, we're like, damn, I should have listened. Well, you got to make sure that you do the same thing for your children. Teach your children the things that they need to know so that they're not caught off guard by life. Prepare them more and better than we were prepared. And I know it's difficult for some of y'all because it's coming out of the TV, it's coming out of the radio, it's on the TikTok, it's on the Twitter, it's on the Instagram, it's on the Facebook. And we damn near at a place where you're not going to be able to keep your kids off these social media sites. So if you know that what's awaiting them online is all of these negative influences, then you have to be extra diligent at home and teaching them the things that they need to know. You got to be extra diligent at home in reinforcing the values and the morals and the decency and the order that you want maintained in your household, because they're going to be taught regardless. You understand? But little Uzi Vert with his new haircut and his new hairstyle, that don't make him Leslie. He's just gay Chris with pink hair, pink nails, and a perm. Stop lying to these kids, man. Listen, sometimes it's just mind-boggling that we actually live in a society where they could take my video down for saying what I just said, for just speaking the truth, because you might insult somebody who's living in some fantasy world. They could try and shut you up. But if you're a parent, man, your household is the place where you get to tell the truth. With your children are the people who you get to maintain to a standard of living in reality. If you allow yourself to be convinced that it's okay for your children to live in this fantasy world where they can dress up and paint their nails and your son could come out and say, call me Leslie, it's rough. And when them children enter into real life and they are faced with the harsh realities, they are going to blame you for not warning them and for not telling them that in the real world you can't just dress up and color your hair and now you got a different name. Now you get to be a different person. It's ridiculous. It ain't real. You understand? But that's what's being pushed on our children. That's what's being promoted to them in this society. And so as parents, yeah, you got to arm yourself. Hell, even if you're not a parent, you got nephews and nieces, you got cousins, you got little kids that's just running around in the neighborhood. You have to be the example for them of what an adult looks like. And that's another thing I'm gonna address. Not in this stream, but a lot of you brothers, man, running around here talking about these women that got these kids and ain't no men in them in the kids' lives. You just saying F the kids. Damn that, man. You understand? These young boys need men to be examples for them. I don't give a damn if hey daddy in their life, if you know their mama or dealing with their mama and that, you got some little boys, man, that's in your vicinity. Show them what a real man is like, man. When they around you, whether they in the grocery store, wherever they at, man, you talk to them little boys and talk to them and treat them like young men and tell them that there's a certain way they got to be, man. You know what I'm saying? It varies in different situations, but as men who grew up in a generation where we saw men destroyed on drugs and saw men destroyed because of jail and saw men destroyed because of lack of jobs and lack of opportunities, you being a man now, man, warn these young boys about what real life is like. Warn these young boys about how they supposed to conduct themselves in public, man. Warn these young boys about how they supposed to talk to each other and how they supposed to present themselves. And I ain't talking about, it varies situation to situation. But if you are in a position to be an influence in a young boy or a young girl's life, man, take it seriously. I wish more of the men that was in my life when I was younger took it seriously. Because I had some piss poor examples of what a man is supposed to be. And growing up in that environment and growing up looking up to niggas who really wasn't worthy of being looked up to can have a young boy emulating something that is detrimental. That's why so many of our young boys end up, in the streets hustling, end up going to jail, end up, they soldiers, by heart. They soldiers in their spirit. So they end up wanting to be down with something. They on the block, you know what I'm saying, repping some hood, repping some set, end up killing somebody, end up, you know what I'm saying, hurting somebody and going to jail. Why? Because they didn't have no proper guidance. We living in a time now where those of us black men who are free, who understand the responsibility that comes with, you know, bills and keeping a roof over your head, not making no excuses. Take some of these young boys, man, and talk to them, man. Teach them something real, man. Don't just talk to them about how to get some hoes or, you know what I'm saying, something goofy like that. You know what I'm saying? Be an influence, be a proper positive influence in the lives of these children, because so many of them don't have good parents at home, because so many of them aren't being led the right way. Don't just feel bad for the kid and say, oh man, that boy ain't gonna be shit. Nah, maybe he wouldn't be shit. But if you can be an influence in his life, then maybe he can avoid being, you know, a product of what it is that he's being raised up to be at home. But we gotta be the ones to stand up, man, and say something. You see something, say something. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to videos like the little girl rebelling against her teacher in that school and getting the brakes beat off of her, don't lie in them comments and say that teacher was wrong or that teacher did something she wasn't supposed to do. That little girl was wrong. She was out of goddamn pocket. She learned to watch her mouth and learn how to talk to adults the right way. And you see these entertainers and these singers and these rappers putting on these dresses and coloring their hair and saying that they this person today and that person tomorrow. If you know that that's wrong, you know that ain't no way that nobody conduct themselves in regular life. Warn these kids and let them know, man. Listen, little Uzi Vert is a rapper, and he makes money by getting his name in the papers. So he gonna color his hair and put on nails and wear some goofy outfit and say, "Call me Leslie." The nigga ain't Leslie. He's just little Uzi Vert, or who his parents call him at home, Lil Gay Chris, and that's the reality of it. You can't go to work one day, you know, you can't be who you are in real life, in everyday life, and then wake up one day and throw on a dress and color your hair and come to work and tell everybody to call you Susan. You know what I'm saying? Stanley, you're Stanley. You can't just come to work one day and say, call me Susan. That's not how real life works. And either you can teach it to your children at home now, and they can be mad at you for it, but appreciate you later, or you could be complicit in this evil and this disgusting culture that's being pushed on us in this society. And when your children grow older and they realize that this ain't even real life, they'll hate you and resent you for not being man or woman enough or parent enough to tell them the truth. But with that, Angry Black Man Media, Chief Sock G, that's all I have for y'all today on the Angry Perspective, man. I will holler at y'all. I'm out.